Doug and James, have you guys used CloudTop yet?
No, I haven't.
No, you haven't. Okay, great. Just so I know sort of where to begin.
Doug's been using it. He loves it.
Yeah, actually, I use it, and I'm going to put it through a pretty big test here starting on Tuesday.
Okay.
I uploaded a bunch of my work stuff into Dropbox. And starting on Tuesday when I go to my office to update and plan my lessons for next year, it's going to be exclusively on CloudTop using Zoho Writer as the editing tool.
Using Zoho? Okay.
So we'll see. Well, use Zoho. Yeah, I'm going to use Zoho instead of Google Docs. Give that a try.
Okay. So why are you using Zoho rather than Google Docs? I'm just curious.
The material I uploaded is in doc and docx format, and I find that Zoho Writer holds the formatting of the original document a lot better than Google Docs does.
It's interesting. So I'm actually we're looking at adding in SkyDrive and Office 360 integration as well. So I think that would be something that would hold the formatting even better. So if we get that probably won't be in the next week, but maybe in the week after that you'll see something like that where you can take any file and open it in Office 360. That would be valuable.
Cool.
Yeah. So the cross compatibility of Word files is an important thing for you. Sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not a big Microsoft fan, I'm doing this on my Chromebook. My other computers are Linux-based. My Office is a Microsoft client, so I've got to have dock capabilities.
Yeah. Interesting. Neat. Well, let me know how it goes. I'm excited to hear any of your feedback there. So put it through the ringer. I use it pretty much every day, multiple times a day. So it'll be interesting to see how other people the usage patterns there. So
all right.
So James, do you have a general overview of the product? Do you want to understand it better, just so I can sort of loop you into the conversation here?
Yeah, sure. I took a very brief look at it after you got in touch.
Okay.
I haven't tried it in anger.
Okay.
I think I understand what it is, but I'm obviously open to your your overview.
Sure. Well, I mean, if you've tried it out, and maybe for the people at home as well. But it's essentially a way for you to take all of your online files and applications and sort of merge them together seamlessly. So you can go between Google Docs and Dropbox and Zoho and Facebook and Pixlr and all these different online services, and really just have them intercommunicate in as easily a way as possible. So now, for instance, there's folder integration as well. So you can drag and drop entire albums from Picasa to Facebook or vice versa. So if you wanted to say, hey, let's get all of my content from Facebook, then that's something you can easily do. So, yeah.
Go ahead. If you want to take a screen share and show them, go ahead.
Sure. I'm curious how. I'm no longer on my Chromebook, so I don't know how well the screen share is going to work, but I can try it out. Let's see if I can get.
We're also broadcasting this, so if anybody online has any questions, they can send them to me through chat at kenbortos@gmail.com.
Oh, that worked rather well. Okay, so essentially, this is CloudTop. It's not the prettiest user interface at this point, but obviously that's something that we're working on. But see, just for the people at home, use CloudTop.com, and you can go there and register for an account. But the main thing is the thing here on the left side, having all of your file clients. So you have your Dropbox, you have your Google Docs, Facebook photos, Picasa, all these things. And actually on the bottom here, you have your actions, if you will. So, for example, with this document file, I'm just caching things here. We'll wait for my slow internet to catch up here. There you go. So yeah, so you can see here with the document, as we were hearing, you can take this file and open it in Zoho Writer, and what that will actually do is then allow you. So this file came from Dropbox, and it'll actually, when you edit it online in Zoho, it will allow you to save it back into Dropbox. So it's just sort of this seamless interoperability. Similarly with drag and drop, here you can take this and move it into Picasa, just easily drag and drop to a copy, and it works. And then one of the interesting things that I think is probably underutilized, but is an exciting feature nonetheless, is being able to do search. So, for example, I have a variety of different classes folders. I have some in Box, I have some in Dropbox, I have some in Google Docs, and being able to just search across all of these is a really nice feature that I use. So, yeah, that's CloudTop. One of the use cases that we see a lot of people getting excited about is using it for photo editing. So, for example, this is a little we'll use this one, just a little headshot of me, and you can take it and open it up in Pixlr, and then you can do things like do an auto fix, you can sharpen, blur, touch it up, add some effects here if you really wanted, and then when you saved it, it would save back into wherever it came from. So if it came from Picasa, it would save back into Picasa. If it came from Dropbox, it would save back into Dropbox, etc. Just like it would, if you open a file on your normal computer, you save it, it will save back to wherever it came from. So there you go. A few questions there.
Yeah, when do we get it?
You have it. So yeah, so we're in basically we're about 200 people right now in terms of users. Just to sort of work out some of the kinks, do some testing on what works, what doesn't work, what you guys are using, what you're not using. Sort of really find out what that sweet spot will be in terms of features. Definitely looking at Chromebook users as some of the people who are going to really use this thing and get excited about it. Because it's really, it's built around this vision of being able to move entirely onto the web. And I think by having this interoperability, it really allows you to move entirely onto the web. And obviously, Chromebook users have already bought into this vision.
Well, what I was wondering, I noticed on your screenshots,
sure.
You had Google Mail activated?
Oh, so that's actually, you can take any file and you can share it via Gmail. And what that'll do is it'll just create a one-time access link, or not a one-time access, it'll create a temporary link that you can share with people, and then they can download it regardless of if they have CloudTop or not.
Ah, because I was looking at let's see if I can do this. My Nokia C7.
Yeah.
And I've got CloudTop opened on it. Unfortunately, none of the links work and none of the shortcuts.
Yeah, it's not quite optimized for mobile, if you will.
Yeah, but that would be So
it works a little bit better on mine, but that's fine. Yeah, I mean, it's something where I think we're playing around with whether we do sort of just a mobile web version or we do a native application or both. Do you have any thoughts on what you'd prefer and what you've seen work well in the past?
Mobile web version, I think. For the sole reason you've got iPhones that run on, I don't know what they run on. Nokia just switched over to QT format. And then you've got your Android for. There's just too many formats to make an application for.
Yeah.
But
it'd be neat
mobile web, that'd be so cool.
It'd be neat, though, to work with. So Android already has this notion of intent, which would be a neat thing to plug into. But yeah, I think there's definitely both on the mobile side and then also on the tablet side. A lot of tablet users are looking at this and saying, "Hey, I really wish I had something like this that would allow me to, view and work with my content wherever it is on the go." And we could say, buy a Chromebook and you'll get it, but making something native for those tablet users, I think would be nice for them.
Yeah. You keep telling me to do this.
Okay, I've got a really high-level question.
Yeah.
So, am I right in understanding that this is a web front end to pre-existing data stores and is not storing any instance of any data itself? It's merely linking data stores that already exist in one common window, for want of a better word. Is that a fair understanding?
It's a bridge, yes. And I mean, I actually go so far as saying I don't ever write your files to disk. Because I don't want to have to deal with the storage, but also I think it's a concern. It's a security concern. I mean, you're trusting Dropbox and these other places with your files. That's good enough. You don't need. You shouldn't have to always give up access to your files to all these different people. So if you have it, in Dropbox, I don't. I have access to it so long as you give it to me. But at any point, you click disable on the OAuth. It's done. You don't have access. Nothing's written to disk. Totally secure in that way.
And it uses OAuth for its authentication, yeah?
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Well, the only one it doesn't is for FTP servers.
Yep.
So you can add an FTP server. Obviously, FTP doesn't work over OAuth, but you provide your username and password.
Great, thank you.
As far as integration with docs and such go, we had one question somebody posted asking if it was likely to click on a Word document and it would open in the Chrome OS, it would load an instance of the application.
So what was the question? If you click on it, then it will open in that?
If they clicked on a Word document, for example, in the Chrome OS file manager, could it load an instance of your application?
It could. So that's what we're looking at. I was mentioning this yesterday. We're looking at a Chrome extension and what various features that might have and what opportunities it would allow us. So some of the things would be having something show up in the bottom right there, just as it says right now with Photos. It says like send to Picasa. You have a similar thing that says either send to CloudTop or open in Soho, or a lot of these options there. The other thing we're looking at doing is doing some sort of save to CloudTop functionality, so that if you go and you find a PDF on the web, you can just right-click it and send it directly to your CloudTop. So that there's basically any time that you're finding yourself having to download something just to upload it again doesn't make sense. Especially on a Chromebook, it's one of these things where it's a file shelf. And we think you should put as few things on that shelf as possible, and just try to keep it all online. So that's really the goal. So.
Yeah, we had one person in the forum ask the other day they lost their Chromebook. They wanted to know how they could access the files they had in their shelf after somebody stole their Chromebook, and it was the answer was you can't.
Yeah.
But I understand they might be trying to do something with that in the future with linking docs to
G drive.
Stuff. Yeah, with the G drive, but who knows when that's going to come out and how it's going to work.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it would make sense. I mean, it makes sense for them to back up everything, but I guess you get into the question of, you know, when you attach an external storage, what do you do? Or if you put in, I think you were mentioning that you have a 32 gigabyte drive in there, or someone, yeah, and it's like, you know, that's a lot of space to throw up on the web if you don't need all of it. So.
Yeah, and there's certain things on that I don't want to put on the web. So.
Exactly. So it'll be interesting to see how that evolves. But yeah, I mean, one of the things I was noticing, so one of the things I use CloudTop for all the time is not only on my computers, but also at, like, we have public use computers, and it's one of these things where I can't install Dropbox natively, and I can't even install Chrome, actually. It's Firefox. So it's a service where I don't necessarily want to always be downloading my files to if I just want to do a quick edit on them or work on, you know, a problem set or something of that nature. So that's really where I get a lot of value out of CloudTop. Similarly, you know, we're hearing from people who are saying, yeah, you know, when I go to a hotel, I don't want to download files onto this computer or anything like that. So via CloudTop, you can just do everything on the web without having to worry about downloading it or security concerns. You clear your cache and you're done. Yeah.
I was just curious, kind of an ignorant question here. On the CloudTop desktop, you've got My Documents and My Music. Okay, I guess this is a two-part question.
Sure.
Will CloudTop ever have a native player attached to it to actually play music? Because I notice right now it doesn't.
It doesn't.
And,
yeah.
And My Documents, where is, if I put something in the My Documents file, where exactly is it stored?
Yeah. So it's the home folder is a little bit of an experiment, and it's interesting to hear your feedback on that. So I'll address the My Documents question first. So one of the features that I think is really cool and we'll be looking at going forward is this ability to say, okay, you know, I have my files stored online, but I shouldn't really care where they're stored. I mean, as long as it works and as long as they're, you know, secure and, you know, all the rest, you know, it's stored online. I mean, it's sort of the question of like, okay, you don't really care what hard drive you have. I mean, you purchase it once and you make sure it's set up and all that, and then after that, you just sort of use it and you forget about it. And one of the things, I mean, if I have, you know, as I showed, if I have these multiple classes folders, what would be really nice is if I had one folder that all of my stuff automatically was in, and I wouldn't have to, you know, remember whether it was my Dropbox folder or my Google Docs or wherever. It would just be, I have my files, and when I click on them, they open in the right applications, and everything just sort of works. So that's what we're looking at doing with My Documents and those sort of things. So to answer your question directly, it's stored wherever it comes from. So if you take a Dropbox file and you drag it into My Documents, it doesn't actually copy the file anywhere. It's a shortcut link, if you will. So yeah, and then and if you so if you take a file from wherever, it stays. Every file is sort of attached to one source and only one source. And it keeps that wherever it goes. So when you drag it to another client, it'll do a copy, but when you drag it into the home folder, it'll keep that reference. With regard to music, it was interesting the way you phrased the question. So I want to try as hard as possible to not build anything natively, not build anything directly into CloudTop, because I think just in terms of the users and getting access to the best applications, it doesn't make sense for me to try to build everything into CloudTop, and to instead just sort of direct the traffic to whatever the best of breed applications. So what I'd love to see, so this is sort of a general shout out to the internet community, I'd love to see someone build a music player that can take in a file, that you just pass it, has some sort of API where you can pass it the URL of a file you want to play, and then it just works. If that already exists, I would love to see it. I've looked around, and I haven't found that. So, and this is where, you know, I see, generally for applications, it's reminiscent of when the iPhone first came out, and people were making, $1 million making a flashlight app. Not because it was hard to do, but just because it hadn't been done and it needed to be done, and there was a real clear need for it. And I see that as the situation we're in on the web right now. That there's a lot of these just like really simple things that people just haven't put the pieces together yet, and as soon as they do, you'll just get a ton of usage. At least you'll get a ton of usage from everyone using CloudTop. If you made the music playing application, you would be the default music playing application for everyone who signs up. And I think, as we grow here, now I guess to what would an application developer give to be the default application on all, Windows PCs, for instance. So.
I think somebody in the Google Chromebook forum made a music player, Antimatter 15. I don't know if you've seen him. He hasn't been around for a while, but he just posted something about doing uploads to Google Music recently, or Google Play now. And I believe he had something a while back, but I'm not sure if it's still working.
Okay. Good to know. I will. I'll check it out. Yeah, because that would be something that would be nice.
I try and do a search on the forum right now, but I'm on my Chromebook, and last time I opened something, it jumped me out of the meeting here. So don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anybody else have any questions? Somebody just joined.
What did you say the name was again? Just quickly.
Antimatter 15. Or Animator 15, excuse me.
Animator 15?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were, it was a chat. I can email you the link to it later after the meeting here. There was chat about something about Google Play and uploading music, and he said he had fixed one of his apps. But I'm not sure everybody's having success with it right now. He made a few different apps for the Chromebook forum, like CROS Save and
Cloud Save, looks like.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's also one of the gurus. He just doesn't do the Hangouts with us as much.
Yeah, drag two up. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh.
I guess that kind of plays into one of the other questions that got posted here. Are there any plans for offline capabilities?
Of course. The trick is, how do you do offline when all your applications are online?
And HTML5?
Well, yeah. So, but it's one of these things where if you can access all of your CloudTop files offline, but none of the other people are using the right HTML5 local storage things, then it's one of these things where it's like, okay, well, you have your files, but you can't do anything with them. And there's no sense in like making an experience like that. But if we could partner with, I know, for instance, there's a photo editor called Pikozu that we're in conversations with, and they're straight up all HTML5, and because a lot of these services are Flash, but it would be great if we partner with them, and now you can take a photo and you can edit it offline because we both cooperate and we both interoperate offline. So.
Let's see, what else did we get here? Those were the questions we had posted.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions?
No, mine were answered.
So I guess just out of curiosity, like, so what are you mainly using CloudTop for?
Right now, access to documents.
In Dropbox?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thanks to CloudTop, I now have a Dropbox account.
Okay.
So I put in a bunch of test documents that I'm going to be using in an office environment on, and that's the whole thing. Can I, will the documents be okay in Dropbox? Can I edit them through using Zoho Writer and CloudTop? And then kind of link that with the cloud printing of the Chromebook to get the hard copies out to the people who need them. And if this works, then I'll be a real happy camper.
Cool. Well, that's the goal, of course, is to make you a happy camper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it should. But and I'm happy to provide any support that I can. If something goes wrong, shoot me an email, and we'll make sure it goes right.
Yeah. And additionally, what I like about the CloudTop and Dropbox combo is there will be occasions when I won't be, at my Chromebook, when I will have to use one of the desktop computers at my work, and instead of lugging in my portable hard drive or a thumb drive or something, it's there. The programs I need, the documents I need.
I may actually quote you on this and put it on our website. But it's good to hear, because that's what I use it for. So it's good to hear that other people are sort of are joining on with this vision and feeling the same need that I do.
Well, it was when I first read about it on in the Chromebook group. It was like, here's your desktop. All right, I use my desktop for work. I don't do games on the computer.
Yeah.
So I'm presenting lessons. I'm designing lessons. I'm doing my grades. I mean, my entire classroom and all my students are in this computer. Well, I use more than one computer.
Yeah.
Before I had to sit there and tote around, a portable hard drive everywhere. And that gets risky. Well, I don't want to do that anymore. You seem to offer me a solution, and I'm going to put it to the test here in less than a week.
Great.
Right, I've got a couple of very brief questions, more on the strategic commercial side than the technical operational.
Yeah.
So I've only spoken to Morris very, very briefly. What is your intended pricing structure? Is this...
Sure, so it's something that, I'm a big fan of free. And I think it's something where there is the potential to do some sort of freemium model where maybe you charge for some of the features that you mentioned, offline storage, stuff like that. Personally, I find that not as attractive as some other options. One of the things we're looking at doing is partnering with companies and saying, okay, for example, if somebody's using Box.com, I guess now, for a lot of their online storage, we say, okay, well, is there a way that we can work in CloudTop into that situation and say, okay, yeah, they pay us, $10 a head or something like that, and we provide enterprise support. Sort of almost the Red Hat type model of saying, okay, we're giving it away to free, but for enterprises, we'll charge for X, Y, and Z. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, we're in conversations with them right now, and if there are people who are interested, then we'll definitely be using that. Further down the road, I think it's something where it makes a lot of sense to have some sort of application store or have some sort of way for a developer to really get access to this user base. So, and that's one of the things that I think is really exciting about CloudTop, just sort of at a higher level, is if I'm a developer and I want to make, and I think I can make a better Word editor than Zoho or Google Docs or any of these other things, I can make it. And I can get placement, as soon as someone clicks on a Word doc, I can get my name out there, and I can get users coming to my platform. And that's something where I see it's sort of it's a win-win type situation where they can, basically pay for much more targeted marketing than Google or anyone else will provide. If you think about it as an application, if you're a developer and you put up a link on Google, it's like, okay, well, maybe someone clicks on that link, and once they click on the link, then they have to sign up for an account, and once they sign up for an account, then they have to upload their files, and there's this whole big long funnel, and for every 10 clicks, you may get one person actually using the application with their content. Whereas CloudTop is one of the things where it's one click, and they're going to your service with their content, and it's a seamless experience. So that's what we're looking to do longer term.
Second question is a little bit obtuse. If this takes off, where does that fit in with your and Morris's studies? So, in other words, where are your priorities? You know, I mean, I don't want to. It's not a leading question by any stretch.
I'm graduating in June, and this is what I'm doing.
Great. Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. Figure, you know, now's the time.
Yep. Yep. That's me done.
Thank you.
All right.
So yeah.
Just
if there's
checking
any other
your
questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I'm looking online here to see if we have any more. I think that was about it.
Okay.
We covered the smartphones. We covered other data sources planned. And well, we do have local documents.
I'm all ears to this. Of course, you know, there's like 50 or so on the web, but the question is, you know, which are the ones that are really going to be the most useful to people? So I think, you know, I've sort of hit upon some of the main 5 with Dropbox, Box, Pixlr, or Picasa, sorry, Facebook, and then FTP servers. To me, I think that covers probably the 90 percentile range, maybe even 95. The question would be if there's some community that's, you know, centered around, like for instance, I know Evernote is a really popular service, and they have a lot of sort of diehard users of Evernote. The question would be how do we best integrate Evernote files with CloudTop, and what are the actions that they really want to do? Similarly, you know, something like GitHub would be really neat. You can integrate GitHub and be able to, so with an FTP server, I edit my code online and through Dropbox, but it'd be great to get GitHub integration there. There's tricky things with, you know, how do you map a repository, especially a repository as sort of convoluted, if you will, as Git, into a file system structure, and what other support do you need and stuff like that. But we're looking at that, and if there's someone who's like, you know, I need X, and they're really passionate about it, and they can make a case for why, you know, they and all of their friends need X, then I'd love to hear it, and we can work with that.
Cool. I will relay that answer. Well, if nobody else has any questions, I guess.
And you all have you know, contact at usecloudtop.com anytime. Hopefully I can get back to you within, you know, a few hours. But
all right. Well, thank you very much for your time and answering all my questions. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah, I appreciate your time, Brett. Thank you.
You too.
And Doug, stress it out. Give him a real stress test on it.
Oh, trust me, that stress test starts Tuesday the 20th at 9:30 in the morning, my time.
What's the time differential?
Where are you?
Boston.
Boston. There's 11 hours between us. I'm 11 hours in the future.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll be able to. You know, that's a decent time for me to handle some loads. So.
Doug's also tried the Nexus install free, and he definitely prefers this over that.
Interesting. Why?
You actually produce things and make things happen. If I go to my Dropbox file, and if I go to the Dropbox part and click on a file, your menu comes up and I can choose how to open it. Nexus, their servers are so far away from me. Yeah, I'm in Thailand. You know, I'm in the middle of, I'm in internet hell. So, yeah, I open my Dropbox, I click on the same damn document, and it's like loading, loading, loading. I let it sit for an hour once with that stupid little loading thing going on.
I apologize. I'm sure they're working on it. And it's almost a little bit of a different, like, it's a different view on the world. To me, and there's a few. I mean, there's, you know, go to my PC. You know, people sometimes ask, you know, why would I use this instead of sort of a virtualization thing, right? If the problem is I want the files on one computer on other computers, you know, why can't I just sort of remote log in? And you can. It's a question of whether that's really the best way or not. To me, I see it as something where I think the future is browser-based, or something more along this line, where you don't have these native applications that are installed. And that's really what we're sort of banking on here. Because if it's the native application that you really, really want, then something like Nexus install free makes more sense, because CloudTop doesn't have the native applications. But I think more and more you'll see these web applications become better and better, and we're seeing it right now with photos, for instance. I prefer using Pixlr to GIMP or any other on native photo editing client. They don't necessarily have as many features, but for someone like me, I mean, I don't when I want to edit a photo, I want to do red eye reduction, I want to do a few touch-up things, and I find that the online versions are not only great for that, but they also are just getting better and better, almost exponentially faster. Where, I'll just go onto the site, 2 days later, and there'll be new features, and I didn't have to do any updates or installs or anything like that. I didn't have to download anything. It's just these things just get better and better in the background. And that's why I see the web applications really being the one I'm betting on. So, there you go.
I think it's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
I think anyone with a Chromebook is making this bet. So.
Ken, how fast? I mean, I guess I haven't tried it, so it's hard to know. Is it fairly easy to use in terms of simplicity and speed?
Oh yeah. It's pretty
If it's not,
good.
let us know and we'll fix it. Yeah, we're actually planning on a new user interface that we're pretty excited about. So, I guess we can kind of spill little details. We're going to basically transfer from sort of like a grid view to more of a list view, which I'm pretty excited about. So,
if you want to share your screenshot, I think you can share your screen.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Let me actually, sure, I can do that.
Right, if you want to show them off, that'd be awesome.
Sure. Well, I can.
That's what I need to see.
The product right here.
Share screen.
Screen share. Select the window.
Why am I taking the screen? There we go.
There you go.
So this is CloudTop. Maurice, do you mind muting?
Yeah.
There you go. So this is CloudTop. So essentially here on the left-hand side you have all of your different file sources, as well as the ability to create sort of these custom shortcuts. So if you just take a file here and you drag it onto here, you'll see a little quick access that you can remove with a right click here. Remove it there. So in your home folder, this is, it's something that I'm playing with here, and whether or not it gets a lot of use, we'll see. But the idea is that you could take something and you could have a My Documents folder, and you could actually go from Google Docs here, and you could take a file and you could move that and put it in your My Documents folder. And then you could take a file from Dropbox as well and move this into that same folder, and it wouldn't necessarily, it's sort of file system agnostic, if you will, and that you can have documents from both sources and edit them, and you just see along the bottom here, down here you have all the different actions. So you can edit it. So this is a Google Doc that obviously you can edit in Google Docs. Given it's from Dropbox, you can take it and edit it in Zoho Writer, and then whenever you click save, it'll actually just save directly back to wherever it came from. So if you take a document from Dropbox, then it's going to save back to Dropbox, and sort of everything just gets handled behind the scenes magically. There's also some other actions here. One of the things that we heard people really wanting was with Facebook photos, that they found that just uploading apparently was a huge pain. So being able to do an upload by URL or upload from the computer, they thought was really important to them. If you're not on a Chromebook, you can actually take a file directly from your desktop and just drag and drop it onto CloudTop, and it will upload it automatically that way as well. So yeah, we think it's pretty cool. One thing that was recently added was the ability to move circles. So you could, or not move circles, sorry, to move whole collections of photos. So you could take things where, oh, there's no photos in that folder, I forgot. But you could take, in this ski trip album, you could just drag and drop these and take all of these and just move them directly into Dropbox, and just have that, yes, I'll say cancel here because it takes a little bit of time to pull them all down from Picasa and then bring them to your CloudTop, or bring them to your Dropbox, sorry. But yeah, that's one of the really cool features. One of the nice things is also not just connecting your file systems, but also connecting your applications, so that you can take an a file from your Dropbox and actually edit it. This is Pixlr here, which is a really nice photo editing service. And you can do all sorts of things. I mean, you can adjust the color, you can rotate it, do all sorts of things here. You can apply different overlays and filters. I mean, it's almost like a simpler, more intuitive way of Photoshop. This is some crazy filter. I'm no photo guru, but and then when you click save, so if we wanted to add some text here, do it in a novelty font, let's say, and say Chromebooks are awesome. Take this here, put it down here, and now when we move it over here, but now we apply it, we hit save, and when we save it, it'll actually save back into my Dropbox, and I just don't even have to worry about where it came from. If it came from Picasa, it would save back onto Picasa and back onto Google+, and if it came from Facebook, it would go back onto Facebook. So really this idea of just sort of seamless interoperability.
Oh, okay.
So we got another thing, so I can show you it here. We go down to that file. And we could share this now on Facebook. Well, I'll delete it.
Yeah. I use Pixlr, so that'll work out. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let me stop the screen share so I can count with you. There you go. Cool. Use Pixlr. Great. Yeah, I find it's a really nice program. So.
It's the closest to Photoshop without me paying for Photoshop.
For Photoshop. There's actually there's another service that we integrate with called Sumo Paint. There's actually really cool features. Sumo Paint has layers and has all sorts of doing these like color burns and some of the more advanced Photoshop techniques that I'm no artiste, if you will, but yeah, I know Sumo Paint has a lot of these options, and they're also free. But they have a pro upgrade feature, and they integrate directly in with CloudTop.
Okay. Now, when you said you pull all these pictures together and put them in Dropbox, can I also like pull all these pictures from my, say, SD card and put them in Picasa?
Yeah. So right now we have it. So you can't necessarily do it on your Chromebook, but if you were on your desktop, you could just select, like, I think it's up to 10 images, and just drag those onto your browser and drop them onto CloudTop, and they'll upload directly into whatever folder you're looking at.
Oh, okay. Well,
so I drag and drop upload to Picasa.
CloudTop is packaged as an app, so I can store it. I can put it in my Chromebook, or I can put it on my Chrome browser on my desktop.
Well, it's not even an app; it's just a website. So you could.
Oh, it's a website. Oh.
I do this all the time from. We have public use computers. And they all have Firefox on them, and I can't install anything. So whenever I want to get access to my Dropbox files, rather than going to the Dropbox website and sort of navigating through all that stuff, when usually I just want to pull up a file, do some quick edits, and save it, then it doesn't really matter what browser it is.
Okay.
I can just pull it up on the website and it just works. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
we are looking at doing something where, obviously if you have a Chrome extension, you can do cooler things. So one of them would be allowing you to do, sort of better integration with your local file system, or the ability to, go anywhere on a website, right-click on it, and say save directly to CloudTop. Some of these things I think would be really neat. So if you're looking at a file, a photo that you think is really neat on the web, you can just right-click, say send to CloudTop, and then you pull it into your Picasa, and you're done. What was that? I think you might be muted.
What?
Warren, I think, might be muted.
No, he's not.
I wish I had an opportunity to try it before.
Yeah, well,
but I really thought this was still in development, you know, and it is. But
yeah.
You can't try it.
Well, you know what we're gonna do, Warren? After you play around with it, I will email you, and we'll just chat on the phone or something, and we'd love to get your feedback then, and just get your feedback. So.
Okay. If you get a chance to try it before tomorrow's Hangout, Warren, you could always.
Yeah, you could even try tomorrow. 10 a.m.
So I guess with the new folks,
if I had nothing else to do today, yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
Weekends probably a little better for me, but yeah, I can.
Yeah. So with the two new people that just added on, do you guys? Just curious, getting your feedback, how you've used it, what you've used it for, what you've liked about it, what you haven't, like any new features that you wish could be there. Give us your thoughts. Oh, scared one of them away.
One person. Doesn't look like they're there though.
Mason?
Like the screen.
They might have had their
camera up or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can use your video, but I'm just curious if they wanted to say a few words. If not, that's fine.
Yeah.
Hey Mason, you still there?
Doesn't sound like it. Nope.
You guys plan on adding app to the Chrome Web Store?
Yeah, I think that will be really when we have our when we have Chrome extension. We have something more fully featured that we can put out there. That'd be great.
Yeah, one of the things we want to work on is building a Chrome extension where you can just right-click and then just save to CloudTop. So it's something that we're planning. It's still in the development stages, but hopefully soon.
Cool.
Yeah, and then you can exactly. You can get it directly from your main app page.
Yeah,
I'm curious. What do you guys?
The newer versions of Chrome OS, you'd be able to just drag a link over to, so I don't know if you really need to add just the link up there, but the extension would be very handy.
Yeah, I agree. One thing would be interesting, so we're looking at, I personally, I have my bookmarks bar, so I don't necessarily use the features on the new tab page. Like, I don't necessarily get to my applications that way. I'm just curious what your guys' experience is with the new tab page and what you think about it.
I've got a lot of my applications there. The ones that especially need to be like Google Docs, if I ever need to use that offline, and Gmail offline and stuff like that. In fact, I've got probably about 5 different new tab pages that I use.
Okay.
For different, different things, fun, apps, stuff like that. They're all named.
Okay, it'd be interesting though, because we're looking at, what if some version of CloudTop was maybe there along with it, that you could see your files alongside your applications, and that every time you opened up a new tab, sort of like when you go to your desktop on your on a non-Chromebook, you see not only applications, but you also see your files, right? So you have the opportunity to interact with your files every time you close a window. So it'd be interesting to see what that might look like in terms of, overriding the new tab page or augmenting it or doing something along that nature.
Would it be something along the lines of if you click on a doc, it would open in your preferred document editor, such as Google Docs or?
Yep. Yeah, so that's how it works right now. If you can't customize it yet, but if you double click on the file, it'll just open up. And we built it, as a web version first, because I'm the same way that I use the Chromebook most. But it'd be interesting because there are a lot of people that are sort of more on the tablet for whatever reason.
Yeah. Mason, you were mentioning that you use different photo editors and you use Google Docs. I was curious to know what you use your Chromebook for. You use it for both work and personal stuff?
I use it a little bit for work. I do have a PC at work that my boss insists I use. He doesn't trust the cloud.
Interesting.
Okay, but for the rest of the time, everything else is done via the Chromebook.
Interesting. So you do your photo editing in there, you do your doc editing in there, spreadsheets. Do you, by any chance, do PowerPoint or slide deck presentations at all?
Yeah, presentations. I use the Google presentation tool.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, feeding photos, clip them across. Don't have any issues at all.
What do you think of the Google Docs interface?
It's improving continuously.
What?
It's improving continuously.
Well, yeah. So so not actually the editor. I love the editor. For me, the notion of just having one giant list of all of your files wasn't really. I wasn't a big fan of that. So I don't know. I'm just curious if that feeling of mine is shared or if it's just sort of me.
That's why you star your favorites, the ones you need all the time.
Yeah, and then you use the starred folder, or the starred collection, rather. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I put them in folders.
You do? Okay.
And then on the home page, you can actually, if you once you put it in folders, you can delete it from the home page list.
Yes, exactly.
And so and then you just okay. I want to talk about Chromebooks. I just hit my Chromebook folder, and there's like a bunch of
Yeah, I use the collections there too. One of the things that always frustrated me was when you create a new document, even if you're viewing a certain collection, it doesn't automatically put it in that collection. Are you guys having an issue hearing me? You can move a little closer. Is that better?
No, I can hear you fine. I'm
okay.
I'm adjusting the volume up and down.
Sure.
That's
right. I'm sorry, so I'm going to have to leave you. Okay.
Okay.
Right. I'll watch the whole thing later. Okay.
Thanks. See you later. Bye.
Good to have you, David.
Thanks for stopping by.
What were you saying? What was that?
Hello? So did you say something?
I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, for me, it's one of these things that, I'd rather be able to view the folders a little better and be able to drag and drop a little better between the folders, but I'm just curious whether that was shared. So maybe not. We'll see.
Oh, no, anything that would be easier. Dragging would be easier. I can drag from the home page to What about right clicking?
We currently don't have right clicking, the option to right click and click move to, copy, paste, delete, whatever within our platform, and we've been
right clicking is very intuitive.
Yeah. Okay.
Instead of go finding where in the menu do you move things, The first thing I would try is right click and say, oh, that doesn't work. Let's see where they put the move button.
What about for you, Ken? As far as right clicking goes, we currently don't have right clicking within, as an option when you want to, edit, delete, move stuff. I was curious to get your opinion on adding that ability.
I guess that would be a nice feature to have. I'm gotten kind of not used to using that with the Chromebook, but
yeah, right.
After years of Windows, I'm sure I could go right back to it.
Yeah, if Chromebook ever goes to drag and drop or right click, I go, oh my gosh. But,
Interesting.
Just in general, is there a plan to once you develop this, charge and kind of general area how much you would charge, I guess?
We're still playing around with the business model a little bit. Personally, I'm a major fan of sort of just giving away for free and finding another way to provide revenue to sort of pay the bills, if you will. I think one of those might be some sort of app store or something like that, but we'll really have to see what it works out to be. Or doing something where it's free for like a certain set of use cases that are the most common, and then for example, if we wanted to provide enterprise level support or this additional, like the ability for an enterprise to add in their own server into it or something like that, maybe that's a feature that we charge for to the enterprise.